another episode of In Conversation. I'm Mika Anthony, the editor of CM Today magazine. Now, today we're taking a look at PropTech, a sector that clearly stole the spotlight last year. Now, while it was already making its way into the industry, the pandemic kind of accelerated this change all the more. So, in today's episode, we bring to you what one can foresee in 2021 with respect to PropTech. And talking to us is a familiar name in the PropTech and real estate industry, Ms. Lynnette Abad, the Director and Research of Data for Property Finder Group. So welcome, Lynnette, and thank you so much for taking time out for us today.
Good morning, Mega. Thank you so much for having me, as always.
So as I mentioned earlier, 2020 has truly been like the year for the PropTech industry. And we got to see some very interesting innovations and the way the industry changed in 2020. So I want to know from you, have you seen anything particular that kind of caught your eye, any particular innovation, both regionally and internationally?
Absolutely. I actually would like to focus on Dubai just because, or the UAE, but specifically on Dubai, just because I think that we have innovated far ahead of probably most of the mature markets out there. In 2020, as we saw, it was kind of like, things kind of spiraled weekly, then daily, and then everything happened overnight. So the prop tech industry really had to innovate, and it had to be super, super agile. So I can just give you a few examples of what I saw that really impressed me within the Dubai market. One of the things, and I'm going to talk from Property Finder's perspective. One of the things that we did, and we were the second portal in the world to do something like this. The first portal in the world to do this technology was Hemnet in Sweden. And then 6 weeks later, we came up with more or less the same type of concept of technology. And that was something called live viewings. So as lockdown literally happened overnight. We, as a company who had a zero work from home culture, had to work from home, the next day. We had to figure so many things out. Communications teams. So when it comes to prop tech, and this is what you saw all over the world, as well as what you saw here in the UAE, virtual tours, 360 tours really accelerated on the portals. But the thing is, it was very difficult for people to find a listing that had these kind of tours. Mm-hmm. So what we did as an organization is we created like tools on the homepage and in the search. The search experience on how to find these properties instantly and right away. But the technology that I'm talking about that Hemnet did and that we did about 6 weeks later is something called live viewings. And basically we took YouTube technology and we integrated with our own technology. And it was a work of passion, I have to say, because there were various teams that worked 24/7, tirelessly days. And basically it allowed a person to sit at home, search properties on the portal, and it allowed for a real estate agent to view or show the property in real time. Mm-hmm. And the person sitting at home was able to ask the real estate agent questions while they're viewing. Open up the cabinets. Can you show me all the cabinet space? How many square footage? What is the plot size? What are the service fees? These are the kind of things that take a person who's trying to buy a property a series of meetings with agents or phone calls or WhatsApp with agents to get this information. And we were fortunate enough to create a technology where they were able to do it all in real time. Now, what's the success of this? Well, we had quite a few properties close due to live viewings. People from outside of the UAE, so international buyers, as well as local end user buyers, they were buying property by just going through the live viewings. Now, the benefit of that to them, now, if you look at the real estate market, so I'm going to put my data head on. The best time to have bought property was probably April, May. this year. That's when you got the best deals. After that, after the lockdown started easing, as you know, and I talk about this all the time in the press, is after the lockdown started easing, we had all this pent up demand and everyone just ran out literally and started buying properties. So the prices started to increase. So this is something that we were able to provide to consumers from the PropTech perspective. Now let's talk government. Okay, now this is where I have to say I am the most impressed and so proud to call Dubai my home. The Dubai Land Department. How do you transfer a property? There was a pipeline of sales that needed to get transferred. How do you do this if you can't go to the registration trustee? It was very, you couldn't move. So they, within a matter of weeks, we were having webinars with them every single week, and we had them on our webinar, and they were literally every week updating us on the process. And within weeks, they were able to completely digitize the transfer process. It went from having to visit a registration trustee to doing Zoom calls, verifying a person via a Zoom call. And this is whether someone was locally or internationally. So before internationally, it was very difficult for a seller to sell their home because of the whole power of attorney situation that we had at that point. Obviously that changed when everything digitized. So they were able to transfer property digitally. Therefore, I mean, yes, there was a slowdown, but they caught up very, very quickly. And I believe still to this day, you do have the option to transfer property digitally. There is, as far as I know, and I've done my research, there is no other country or state in the world where you can do this. So this is, I think, one of the most finest examples of PropTech that I personally have seen in 2020.
Right. And of course, when it comes to 2021, there's a lot of spillover that we're seeing. But when we talk about the kind of driving factors, so what according to you will be the kind of driving factors for the PropTech industry at large?
Okay, so look, I can talk about virtual reality, I can talk about augmented reality, but in all reality, this technology really wasn't used in 2020. I don't see that as the near term future for PropTech. Personally, I believe we need to go back to the basics. Okay. I'll give you a few examples. There's many food delivery apps out there. I use one in particular. Why? Because when I get on this app, they already know what I want before I know what I want. It's true. So I get on the app and I don't have to think. They show me things that either I've ordered in the past, maybe something that I looked at before. They already know my behavior. And obviously this comes in from the algorithm. So when I say go back to the basics, I mean going back to algorithms and understanding consumer behavior. When it comes to e-commerce apps, we have many. I use one. Why? Because when I go onto that app, they already know what I want before I know what I want. And it's super easy. With one button or one click, I order what I want, and the next day it's here. Now, we need to provide that same type of service for the consumer journey in real estate. Right now, the consumer journey in real estate is, and I'm going to be very transparent, very broken. It's a very broken process from beginning to end. I've been here since 2007. I've moved 4 times, I think, in my entire time here. I'm recently in the process of buying property. I'm in the property sector. I've been in the property sector ever since I moved here in 2007. And every day I want to bang my head against the wall because I am not getting what I need as a consumer from the whole real estate process. So this is where PropTech, again, going back to the basic, the personalized service for the consumer. We need to create an environment where when a consumer comes to the portal, again, they don't have to think. We will show them already more or less what we believe that they're looking for. We will show them information that they will be not even thinking to ask yet, but maybe thinking after looking at a few properties, oh, I wonder how close is this to my kid's school? Or I wonder what the service fees are. Or I wonder what's the amount, like just giving them all the information without them having to dig for it. Because when you rent a house or you buy a house, it's not something you do every day. It's not something maybe you do every year. I mean, this is something you do maybe every few years. Some people stay in their homes for 10 plus years. So you don't necessarily, as a consumer, really know what to look for. So that's why I personally believe that PropTech for 2021 needs to go back to the basics, and it needs to really focus on the personalization of the consumer, making it easy for them to buy or rent a property. Because like I said, it's a very broken process. And it's not just a personalization service, it's just all the services from the beginning, meaning looking, contacting an agent, getting all the information to the end. So this is where my frame of mind is for 2021.
I think that's quite rightfully said so, because we kind of get carried away in ticking off all these boxes with so much innovations and solutions coming ahead that we kind of forget that we need to get our foundation right and our basics right. And that's when we can truly go forward. And I think that kind of comes to my next question as to, what kind of trends are we now going to foresee in this year? Because we saw 2020 where everyone started getting on board with the whole Zoom and the live viewings and, all those kind of solutions that we saw. But what are the kind of trends are we going to see now?
I think we're going to go back to what we were seeing before, all the technology kicked in. Yes, we're still going to be seeing a lot of like virtual viewings. We're going to still see a lot of 360 videos. Agents are spending a lot of time and money on doing proper photography, proper videos for property. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. I think social media is really going to take a front and center in 2021. It started in 2020 when it came to properties, but every day I see, someone new in the real estate industry come onto, for example, Instagram or TikTok and, showcasing a property. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. People are very skeptical on going out, and as I mentioned before, I'm in the process of buying properties. One of my biggest challenge is the tenants don't want people going through their properties because they're scared of COVID, which I 100% completely understand. I would not want people walking through my home who I don't know where they've been, and I completely understand. So I think this is a challenge until things start settling down when it comes to cases, but which probably is not going to happen until maybe end of year or next year. So I think that agents are going to have to become a lot more creative and think outside of the box and use technology. That's the only way that they're going to be able to do it, is by using technology, using social media. Like I said, videos, virtual tours, 360, very nice photography. I think that's going to be key in the real estate market in 2021.
Do you think we'll ever go back to the good old days or the pre-COVID days now that we're getting so used to all these?
I think a lot of innovation has come out of our situation in COVID. And I think it's definitely going to change how people search for real estate and how real estate agents market and advertise their properties. That I believe is going to stay, because obviously that's convenience. It's convenience for the end user. And the more foreign direct investment that we bring in from international investors, it just makes it easier for them. So that I truly believe is going to stay within the real estate industry, at least.
Great. Thank you so much, Lynnette, and thank you again for taking time out for us and for those beautiful insights that you gave us. And always a pleasure talking to you.
Anytime, Megha. Thank you.
Thank you.